75 feet wide and 45 feet high. In modern terms, it would have been nearly as long as a football field, almost half as wide, and taller than a four-story building. God provided Noah with very specific instructions about the ark's construction: the wood, the pitch, the number of decks, and even the design of the windows. In the midst of a world that had never seen rain, Noah built this immense structure. The ark wasn't just a boat. It was a symbol of God's grace and judgment, a reminder that God's instructions, even when they seem incomprehensible, are always perfect. Building the ark took over 100 years. Imagine the faith and perseverance Noah must have had, facing ridicule and doubt from those around him. But through it all, God's plan was fulfilled, and Noah's ark saved the future of creation itself. The Tower of Babel. Next, we come to the Tower of Babel, one of the most intriguing constructions in the Bible. Located in the land of Shinar after the flood, humanity sought to build a tower that would reach the heavens. Their ambition was to make a name for themselves and to avoid being scattered across the earth. This monumental tower was not just an architectural feat, but also a symbol of mankind's pride and desire for self-sufficiency. In their pursuit of greatness, they forgot the very lesson Noah's Ark had taught them, that God, and not human effort, is the foundation of lasting success. But as they constructed this towering edifice, God saw their unity and pride. In a powerful act, he confused their language, causing division and scattering them across the globe. The Tower of Babel, once a towering marvel, now stood abandoned and incomplete. It remains a lasting symbol of how human ambition, when disconnected from God's purpose, can lead to division and downfall. 3. Solomon's Temple. Fast forward several centuries, and we find ourselves in ancient Israel, where the construction of Solomon's Temple, also known as the First Temple, stands as one of the most iconic and sacred structures in the Bible. King Solomon, son of David, was tasked with building a permanent house for the Lord, a place where the presence of God would dwell among his people. The temple was a masterpiece of engineering, adorned with gold, precious stones, and fine materials. It was built on Mount Moriah, the same location where Abraham had once been willing to sacrifice his son Isaac. The grandeur of the temple was overwhelming. It measured 90 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 45 feet high, and was filled with treasures from the nations. Inside, the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant rested, was the most sacred area, accessible only by the high priest once a year. Solomon's temple became the focal point of Israel's worship and identity, and its construction represented God's desire to dwell with his people. Sadly, the temple was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC, but its legacy would live on, symbolizing God's desire to be with his people and pointing forward to the ultimate fulfillment of his presence in the person of Jesus Christ. 4. The City of Jerusalem. Another massive construction in the Bible is the City of Jerusalem itself, a city whose importance cannot be overstated. Established as the capital of Israel under King David, Jerusalem became the political, spiritual, and cultural heart of the nation. David's son, Solomon, would later build upon his father's legacy, expanding the city, fortifying its walls, and constructing grand palaces. But Jerusalem was more than just a city. It was the city of God, the place where heaven and earth would meet, where God's presence would reside in the temple. It is no coincidence that this city becomes the backdrop for many of the Bible's pivotal moments. Jerusalem was not just a political center, it was a spiritual one. It was the place where the people of Israel gathered for festivals, offerings, and prayer. And it was in Jerusalem, years later, that Jesus would be crucified and resurrected, forever marking the city as the focal point of God's redemption plan for the world. Even today, Jerusalem remains a symbol of God's eternal covenant with his people and his ultimate plan to restore all things. 5. The New Jerusalem. And finally, we turn to the New Jerusalem as revealed in the book of Revelation. Unlike the earthly cities and temples we've discussed, this is a city not built by human hands, but prepared by God himself. The New Jerusalem is described in vivid detail in Revelation 21, where it is said to descend from heaven, coming down from God. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Bible's greatest constructions. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. May you continue to seek God's presence and build your life.